the Ukraine, the Belarus, and Russia, and other Russian-speaking countries. And good morning for our English-speaking friends from the United States. It's 7 p.m. our time and 9 a.m. at U.S. Pacific time. And this is the DeFi Talks, a live talk show where we ask the professional questions to a DeFi project, and we are about to understand what the project does, why it does what it does, how it does it, how will it work, who will use its product, and more important, isn't that a scam, guys? And how you personally can make money with it. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, VK, and please like the Facebook pages where you're watching and subscribe to YouTube channels for not to miss future broadcasts. My name is Eugene Romanenko, aka Crypto Emcee, and I am honored to announce our today expert. He's Leo Morozovsky from UniDAO. Leo, it's great to have you on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Happy to
And
be here.
let me proudly announce our today's hero. First time in the history of a show, we have the hero from the United States, and his name is David Liebowitz. He's the Vice President of Business Development at Everipedia. David, is that correct? Am I correct?
You are correct. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, Eugene.
Great. The Everipedia builds world-class D-apps, including a blockchain-based encyclopedia and prediction market. They have significant traction between their millions of monthly visitors and retail participants on Binance, OKX, and Upbit. And they have been doing DeFi, guys, even before DeFi became the trend of the moment. That's excellent. And David has been at Everipedia since 2016. As Everipedia grew, he grew with it. And recently, he finally escaped from LA, California, and now he is living and working on the road, traveling throughout the United States. So, David, I have already told you that I'm super excited, super delighted with your amazing story. And please answer us, what city of United States are you right now, and what places do you plan to visit this week?
Well, right now I'm in the beautiful city of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. It's this, little city, almost 100,000 people. It's in northern Idaho, kind of close to the Canadian border in the Pacific Northwest. And it's quite, there's lakes, there's mountains. It's really beautiful here. I've been doing a bunch of hiking and whatnot. And this week I plan to leave and I plan to drive throughout the country. So my next stop is Yellowstone National Park, see Old Faithful, the largest and most active geyser in the world. And then, see Mount Rushmore, see all these different nature spots, national parks. And then my eventual end plan is to end up in Miami. So I'm gonna go from, kind of the middle of the country, which is way different than the cities, to probably like one of the most cosmopolitan, diverse international cities in the U.S. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we are right now have fallen into the white and vi, I would say, because you have so many of beauty places inside the US, and you need now to go outside due to COVID, I mean. And do you have plans to travel or maybe you have already done that, all the 48 states of the US, not taking into account Alaska and Hawaii, or maybe even including Alaska and Hawaii?
Yeah, I definitely want to travel to as many states as possible. A lot of Americans kind of dream about going abroad, or they just really don't leave their own hometowns. But I really want to make it a point in my life to see my own country, because there's just so much it has to offer. I kind of view it like this: everything that you want to see nature-wise is in the U.S. If you want to see mountains, if you want to see beaches, if you want to see desert, it's all here. You don't have to go anywhere. And what's beautiful about the U.S. is, and a lot of people don't realize this in the U.S., is you can travel hundreds or thousands of miles and people still have very similar culture to you. They have the same language. It's not the case like that in Europe, where you go, maybe like a few hundred miles into a different country. It's a whole different history, different culture, different language. So the kind of the benefit of living in the U.S. is you don't have that. It's easy to travel. You can travel pretty.
Grab. We definitely like it. So, gentlemen,
is there a volcano? Is there a volcano in U.S.?
Yes, there's one volcano that's active in the continental U.S., Mount St. Helens in Washington. The last time it had a major eruption
Really?
was the last time it had a major eruption was in 1986, so almost 40 years ago.
Well, gentlemen, let me announce our rules. They are quite simple. First, David will tell us his speech up to 5, 6, 7 minutes. How much does he need? Then we will ask questions, and I believe that Leo will ask more professional questions, maybe because he's more DeFi expert than me. So that's our check. Then we will have questions from our viewers, and please, now I'm switching Russian. Друзья, кто смотрит сейчас наше шоу, пожалуйста, задавайте вопросы на русском языке там, где вы их видите, а лучше в чате «Деньги будущего» в Telegram. Мы их переведем на английский и адресуем Дэвиду. То есть, если вы не знаете английский язык, задавайте вопросы Дэвиду в чате по-русски. And for our English-speaking friends, please ask all your questions to David. Where do you watch this video? And our administrator will collect them into our Telegram chat, Money of the Future, and we will address them to David. And you may see the chat at the right corner of the live air screen. So, gentlemen, we are starting our show. And David, please, your preach about Everipedia, whatever you say will be used for understanding what is Everipedia and what values does it bring to the world?
Yeah, so Everipedia, I kind of view it like this. We bring market dynamics to on-chain knowledge. And we do this in two ways. We do this with Everipedia, with historical knowledge, and with Predict, which is our prediction market, and that's with future knowledge. So with Everipedia, that's our flagship product. That's what we're mostly known for. It's an encyclopedia. It's a next generation, innovative, very versatile encyclopedia. We're kind of in the same, scholarly tradition that Wikipedia followed and Encyclopedia Britannica followed. And what each of these encyclopedias have done is kind of innovate how knowledge and scholarly information is used. For example, when Wikipedia originally came out, one reason why they got a lot of traction is because they covered a lot of topics that Encyclopedia Britannica ignored. So when we came out 5 years ago, we did the same thing, but to Wikipedia. So the problem with Wikipedia is they would ignore a lot of topics on the internet and a lot of people, and people would still search for them. So we originally gained a lot of traction that way. We were just a normal website. And then we realized to truly become a next generation encyclopedia and take advantage of the transparency and of uncensorability that, blockchain just made sense for us. So, we kind of, connected with the right people. People really loved our vision. We were able to raise $30 million in 2018. And we built Everipedia on the blockchain. And so now we actually incentivize users to contribute information via the IQ token. So that's the utility, the foundation of the IQ network is the IQ token. So editors use the IQ token to submit edits. They get rewarded. The IQ tokens is used in governance. So people vote on other articles and whatnot. And it's been live for 2 years. It's not just some, project that hasn't launched yet. And we've had a growing community all over the world in different languages. We have millions of unique monthly users. And we saw a lot of traction, but we also saw early on, kind of DeFi and all this stuff, was going to be a force even in 2018, 2019. So we wanted to take advantage of that in a substantial way, but still, have to, stay on our knowledge mission. So prediction markets make sense for us. So with Predict, so like I said, historical knowledge is Everipedia, future knowledge is Predict. So people use the knowledge that they already know in order to speculate and anticipate events. So with what's innovative about Predict, one of the things I love about it, if you go on the website, predict.everipedia.org, it's such a simple interface. It's so easy. They look like baseball cards to prediction markets. And how the IQ token is used there, it's used to, they're user-generated markets. And what I mean by that is people can submit any market proposal. So, for example, with the U.S. election, we have one like, will Trump win a second term? Yes or no? So users submit that. And then, we have a growing community of traders and speculators that, use the knowledge to anticipate the event. So like, yes, he'll win. No, he won't get a second term. And they bet on it with IQ tokens. We actually just implemented Tether. So we're really growing in that regard. And then when the market is finished, the IQ token is used in the resolution process. So there's, all these different growing utilities around IQ. And it's just really, one of my favorite things about it is just seeing the community grow and seeing how active our Telegram chats now. We have people sharing Everipedia pages in the Telegram group. You have people sharing prediction markets and, arguing about like, oh no, he's going to win. Oh no, he's not going to win. So it's really, I think one of the most important parts about blockchain is the community aspect of it. And you definitely see that with Everipedia. And you really aren't anything without your community. You can like have all the funding and have all the hype in the world, but if you don't have people behind it, then what's the point of it? And I think that's like the ultimate goal of blockchain is to like, we want to build not just good blockchain products, but good products overall. And that's what we've really done at Everipedia.
Well, thank you for your amazing pitch. And first of all, Leo, I have to ask you, do you have questions for David right now? Is it everything clear for you what they do?
Let me just, can I ask hard questions? Can I ask peculiar questions that kind of that you would be hard to explain?
Yeah, bring it.
Okay. So I actually had a look at the predict market just before the show. It's pretty amazing in terms of the user interface. It's quite straightforward. I mean that the pages are quite clear, and I understood that you're integrated as blockchain. Is this correct?
Can you repeat the question?
Did you integrate ELS blockchain network?
Yeah.
So you using ELS?
Yeah, we're based on EOS. That's correct.
Yeah, got it.
I show you a photo with Dave Vladimir, David. Yes, you're the friends with David.
Yeah. So my question would be, so for example, you have a prediction market. So for example, some people can vote for or against some, I don't know, some topic that you choose. So what do you think? What do you think would be the key issue for user adoption? I mean, what would the users choose to play with the prediction market if the UI is quite good, if they kind of like the topic? So what is your opinion? What will bring the mass adoption to this product?
I think what will bring mass adoption is product market fit. I think all the best products, whether it's Uniswap, I was just using it the other day. It's such a elegant product. It's so simple to use. Or let's even go back further. Google, when it first started out, it was just the Google homepage was so simple and so easy to understand. So it's all about making simple, easy to understand products, but also have a lot of value and a lot of substance behind them. So that's I think that's the key to adoption is creating like you said, something that's easy to use, something that has a good look, a good interface, and we're really focusing on that at Everipedia. Like I said earlier in my pitch, it's not about building good blockchain products, it's about building good products. And I think the key to user adoption is developing those on ramps and rails. Whether that's a fiat on ramp or whether that's a social login, both that we're heavily pursuing at Everipedia, that will bring not just those blockchain users but just regular users overall, so they can start creating their own markets and they can start participating in these markets and in the whole process.
Yeah, but let me just make a couple of points on this topic. I'm a financial guy, so I'm looking at the applications from the perspective of financial undermining, from the point of incentives design. So you mentioned that Uniswap is great, but what makes the Uniswap great? Uniswap is very cool because it's liquid. It's a liquid market where some users are incentivized to stake liquidity and the others are incentivized to swap assets just because of the tight spreads they have. So it's a peer-to-peer market when one party is incentivized to stake liquidity and the second party is incentivized to swap assets. So in terms of prediction market, here's the same issue that you're actually facing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who would vote for the president or against the president if only two bets are against you? So if you want to vote yes, and you have the stake against your stake, like two votes, and you don't have liquidity on this market, this won't bring any adoption. Yeah, because if you're putting a question yes, you're winning like $20. You're not gaining a lot. You're not getting a lot of liquidity out of this of the result of the topic you're making a prediction on.
Yeah, I think
so what is your point on gaining and making some liquidity inflow to these markets? Because many people try to create a prediction market on a blockchain, but it seems like the incentive design was flawed. Not many were able to attract liquidity for the users to actually find it useful.
Yeah, no, you bring up a great point. A lot of problems that prediction markets, whether they're on the blockchain or not on the blockchain, face is liquidity. Is having orders out there in order for users to participate. And how kind of we look at that is in order to jumpstart it, we have to provide the liquidity. And so, like I said in my previous question, it's all about just having like the right product market fit. And so when you go to predict specifically, and when you first interact with it, it's just a market buy order. So it's very simple. Let's say if you're just like a first time user and you just want to like vote yes, and you don't even care what the price is. We actually just have a market buy order. So it's just very simple. You just go in and you just confirm your order. If you're like start to use the platform more and you get into it more, then you can start, setting your own order. So it's kind of creating, I think the key to bringing liquidity is, we as Everipedia kind of have to like jumpstart that in a way, and and get our like early users to jumpstart that in a way. And so we have to provide the orders there. So I'm very active on Predict. I know a few other early adopters are very active on Predict, and it's just and one thing we've noticed at Everipedia is that the more markets there are, the more participation there is. And so, we always are trying to make new markets and think of new ideas. And because we realize that we have like this certain group of power users that are just always down to participate in the market, no matter what the market is. So as long as we keep like churning out that those markets and getting people excited, and there's always something new, then as liquidity bequests liquidity. So as long and as those markets catch on, and we keep adding IQ or whatever token that the market is denominated in, then I think user adoption increases, and that's one thing we've noticed.
Yeah, so that's one of the points that you need to boost the product by actually boosting liquidity. Yeah. So you need to bring adoption by actually making the users on your platform getting the win bets. They're supposed to understand that their vote is getting valuable, so there's some stake that gets against you, and you're winning. But the question is, the second question would be: so if we're understanding that liquidity is important, why would you use EOS for that purpose? If you look at the liquidity on different blockchain markets and on the different blockchain networks, it seems like Ethereum is getting traction just because a lot of liquidity inflow. And if you look at the stable coins, for example, I saw that you're using Tether on your on your service. So if you look at the liquidity of Tether on the EOS, it's really too small. It's like 5 million overall, and there's no more liquidity with the scatter that you can plug into your website. But if you
Yeah.
use the MetaMask Ethereum sign-in, for example, you would have access to 6 billion liquidity that is sitting there in the wallets.
Yeah.
Meaning
That's,
that you have a much greater inflow of finance there that can come to your website and actually just plug in their MetaMask and get use of that tether.
yeah, you're absolutely right, and you bring up a great point. All the network effects, and by far all the liquidity is mostly on Ethereum. There's no doubt about that. So why we're on EOS is before Predict there was Everipedia, which is a consumer DApp with encyclopedia in contributions. And it made sense for us to build on EOS over Ethereum, because if we were built on Ethereum, the transaction costs for like, $1, $2 to make every edit would be too high. So it did not make sense for us to build on Ethereum. It made sense for us to build on EOS, especially with the support we had on there. So we can't, we built Everipedia on EOS, and then we're just like, okay, like what else? We saw an opportunity. There was no other prediction markets on EOS, and so we're just like, hey, we can build this too. And so I think we see two ways of increasing liquidity on Predict. One is through a fiat on ramp and having people sign in with their social account, and this is in our roadmap, is to have people sign in with their social accounts so they don't have to deal with scatter. Have a fiat on ramp where they can just access IQ tokens or USDT. And as the demand rises for USDT, it will be there. Like the USDT people will recognize that and supply more tether to to EOS. So that's one way. It's just through consumer adoption. If you look, I'll give you an example of a really successful EOS IO chain that's already doing this, and that's Wax. If you look at Wax token, they specialize in NFTs, and they are absolutely blowing up. People that like don't even use blockchain before, they see these Garbage Pail Kids cards and they jump on it. Like it's really admirable and hopeful to see like how Wax is growing through just regular consumer adoption. It seems like they're in their own lane. While everybody's focusing on DeFi, you have Wax in the NFT lane and really increasing consumer adoption with NFT. So that just shows like it is possible to bring liquidity and to bring value into EOS IO chains. It just has to be the right fit. So that's one way we plan to bring liquidity. The first way we plan to bring in liquidity in the future. The second way is we actually plan to make the IQ token into an ERC20 token. So we want to be able to access that liquidity on Ethereum as well. I've always said that I've been blockchain agnostic. I think every chain has like a different value proposition. So we're looking into developing our EOS relay. We're still trying to research it more. And if we're able to, do that and have IQ available, then we can have access to a lot more liquidity. So we understand, we're kind of like stuck in this kind of EOS moat right now. But I think there's a lot of solutions out there that we can take advantage of.
Yeah, so my advice would be like something like this. So DeFi ecosystem is really useful for many applications, not only with a financial purpose. If you take Everipedia and prediction market there is, and you try to think what are the consequences of DeFi happening and booming, it's actually that you have decentralized exchanges right to your hand. If you look at the customer journey, from one person that gets to your website and wants to participate in the markets, you understand he has to pass on really complicated path through centralized exchanges like Binance or something else, Upbit, and he goes there because there's liquidity. He wants to exchange his one like fiat currency to the other currency, get confused with all this very complicated user interface that centralized exchanges have, and basically get stuck on this before getting your IQ token inside his wallet. So the mass adoption, in my view, is really spoiled by the complicated interfaces that centralized exchanges have. Yeah, and if you have, for example, a decentralized exchange market on EOS, simple as Uniswap, that would get all of your tokens get swapped with a blink of an eye. Then you will get the mass adoption, because this will make the solution for a lot of issues with all these centralized kind of hurdles that users face trying to get on your app. So my point would be that research in here is very important. Try to understand how is it possible to integrate the centralized market when you can switch from EOS to Tether and IQ with a blink of an eye using the liquidity pools.
We actually do have that already. So I'm not sure if you saw it, but we actually have this integration with Bancor where you can basically switch any EOS token that's supported on Bancor and convert it to IQ or convert it to Tether. So that actually like goes over a huge hurdle that we have that increases liquidity in these markets overall. So we recognize that, we worked on that. We actually released something with Bancor to actually, as a solution to that, and we want to keep building upon that.
Yeah, and it's basically, that would be very useful if you would have, for example, some integration with a bank, or when you can not only participate on the prediction market but stake liquidity inside your own token, and basically by supplying liquidity to the liquidity pool of your IQ, they can actually help other users jump in without the big spreads of converting one currency to another.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's a lot more stuff you can do with Bancor in the future, and this is a good start we have with them right now, and I don't know, it's really cool to see just how everything's growing over the past year.
So whenever someone asks me like, how do you get use of the DeFi? So what's DeFi? I would say that the greatest advantage of DeFi and why all the developers should look into it, no matter what you do, no matter what you're creating, some NFT market or prediction market or something else, it's really a dream coming true, a decentralized liquidity. Decentralized liquidity out there right by your hand, where you can actually get used with all of these assets in your wallets, get exchange quickly from one market to another.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel, to me, DeFi is actually like a bunch of different concepts, and one of them is permissionless bootstrap liquidity. You see that with these automated market makers such as Uniswap and Balancer. Hold on, it's okay. Sorry, I got a notification saying my internet was unstable, but I guess we're good now. But yeah, I think that's a huge advantage of all these like new dexes that are popping up, is that they just kind of like liquidity bequests liquidity, and these liquidity pools are incentivizing people to, instead of just having it on their wallets, like to have it in these pools instead.
Well, the most important kind of prediction method you have on the predict right now?
Our most active ones are our presidential election ones and our coronavirus ones. So we have one market that's speculating on like how many COVID cases there's going to be. We have another market that's where people are using their knowledge to think like, oh, well, who will be the vice president? Will Elizabeth Warren be chosen as Joe Biden's vice president? Well, so I think those are most active. One of my favorite markets is one that I actually made. It's, will Tesla be listed in the S&P 500 at the end of August? So we have people on that market as well. Those we cover a different range of areas, whether it's in politics, in traditional finance. We have a few, of course, in crypto as well. Another market that was made recently was, will the total value locked in DeFi protocols be above 20 billion by August 16th? Now, I'm not sure if it's going to get there, but it seems like before the Bitcoin run, the rate of all the total value locked in these DeFi protocols was just becoming exponential. So who knows?
Well, Leo, do you have any questions? We have got a couple of questions from our viewers. If you don't have any more, Leo, I will switch to our viewers, okay? So, we've got a couple of questions in Russian, so I'll translate. First of all, may you tell a short tutorial how I am a typical user, crypto enthusiast, may earn money in Everipedia?
Yeah, of course. So to earn money on, to earn rewards on Everpedia, you have to first, like I said earlier, you have to acquire IQ tokens in order to make edits. So, you just go to Binance, you kind of get some IQ tokens on there, and then you sign up for, you get an EOS account, you connect it with Scatter, you send your EOS token, you send your IQ tokens there, and then you start contributing. You just start making a page. So where I like when people are like, oh, I don't know where to start, like start with like things that you care about in your life. Like when I edited Everpedia, I'm a huge fan of music, so I would always make pages for up and coming artists that you like, that I like. So let's say there's a musician that's small and up and coming. You can make their page, you can submit it, you can share it with the group. In our Telegram group, people will vote on it. You can vote on it as well. And once the article is approved, then you get rewarded in IQ tokens, and the voters get a small portion as well. And it's kind of this feedback loop, this kind of flywheel that the more you edit, the more you earn. And people have actually earned, some of our power editors have actually earned hundreds of thousands of IQ tokens that are worth, hundreds of dollars. If maybe a few of them have enough stats that are worth over 1,000 US dollars now. So that's one way people are being rewarded their contribution. And let's say you get like a nice stack of IQ tokens from contributing Everpedia. Then you can like go to Predict and start being active on these Predict markets. Hey, maybe you want to submit a Predict market, and you actually earn fees from the IQ and USD or USDT being traded on those markets. So there's a few ways to actually earn income from Everpedia, whether it's to contributing through Everpedia or just being right on these prediction markets, or even just making these prediction markets. You can actually be a market maker on the prediction markets and have both sides of a market. So let's say will Elizabeth Warren be the vice president of the US? You can 40% yes or 40% no. And let's say both of that, you get both ordered, and it goes in one direction. So let's say like, okay, now it's mostly yes, you can, and there's other orders that are higher than what you put in before. We have a mechanism where you can actually sell the shares that you already bought. So you can act you can implement different strategies on Predict as well. So there, you can kind of get down this, if you notice, you can get down this rabbit hole in the IQ ecosystem where you can be an active part and actually earn if you do stuff right.
Cool. The next question sounds like, who audits your smart contract? Who makes the audit?
Sorry, the
audit, how to say? AUDIT, audits or checking. Who audits? Auditor.
Who's checking?
Checking,
audit. Auditing.
Correct. Auditing.
Everpedia. Okay, so with Everpedia, it's our community that kind of checks over we do a really good job of making sure that our pages are up to date. I kind of like to view Everpedia as living documents. All these wiki pages, there's always something new that needs to be updated. There's maybe a correction of something that our community does a real staying on top of things and making sure everything is accurate and up to date. And if something is pointed out, we fix it. And with the living documents, it's not just Everpedia faces that problem. Wikipedia faces it as well. They have to constantly keep updating their pages, and so we do too. So it's a constant growing process.
Well, thank you. The next question is coming from me personally. Who is your community? A community of Everipedia? Do you exactly know who they are? Where do they live? The geography of the community? You've mentioned the community as the main asset of Everipedia. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, we do. We have a global community. We have like a few certain hotspots. specific one hotspot's in Nigeria. We have a bunch of Nigerian editors.
Why Nigeria? Why?
We have
Why?
hotspots.
What? We love Nigeria because Nigeria is super crypto-oriented guys from Africa. They participate in every crypto project I know. Nigeria, Russia, and United States.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, continue.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I think EOS is popular, and we just got a foothold there, and people just like editing and contributing and being rewarded. So that's why we see it. We have very active communities in Latin America as well. Everipedia is actually in 4 different languages. So we're in English, Spanish, Korean, and Chinese. And by far, like one of our most active communities is in Korea. Like we always, if you just look at bit volume alone, that just speaks for itself. And so, we're really, pushing towards building in Korea as well. So we have people all over the world, of course in the US too. And, we have contributors in Europe as well. But we notice these like certain hotspots of people that contribute, whether it's in, Nigeria, Latin America, Korea. We actually have a lot of Wikipedia editors that kind of defected over to us. So they kind of fed up with Wikipedia and they're, kind of how strict they are. And they come to our platform and kind of see, how much more inclusive we are with our content. They're like, wow, this is so much better. So, that's where we have our community.
Great. And the next question is coming from Ludmila Kukuyetu. She's our crypto lawyer of Trustee Wallet. Trustee Wallet is one of the best crypto wallets, Simply Wallets. Yeah, they are our main sponsor of our show. And does Everipedia has any licenses? And if yes, why? Why? What specific licenses? Do you need licenses or from US government or what?
No, actually, we're actually we don't really are concerned about that. We're actually pretty regulatorily clean. We never had an ICO. We just did we had an equity raise and did an airdrop. Where a lot of our operations is actually outside of the U.S. We have like one of our main offices is actually in Stockholm, and in the Cayman Islands as well.
Okay.
So we're pretty regulatory, and as if you've been listening to
got it.
Yeah.
Well, the next question sounds like, why should I leave my lovely MakerDAO or my lovely compound and switch or join to Everipedia? May you explain, David? The competition between Maker or compound in the hand of the user.
The competition. Why you should leave? Well, I feel like Maker and Compound, they're great products. And if you only have like so much limited amount of tokens to go around, I think it's a lot more fun to be active on Predict than having, your tokens just sit somewhere and it, kind of like have all this risk. Like what happens if Ethereum crashes and then your MakerDAO gets, your collateral gets liquidated. So I think, if you want to be an active in different blockchain dApps, Everipedia is the way to go. If you want to be more of a passive participant but still want to assess risk, then concepts like MakerDAO and Compound. And I think Maker and Compound are really cool. We're just in different lanes.
I would say that I would help you here, David. I think that these are completely different products. So one is a lending market.
Yeah, no, they're 100% different products.
And here you're talking about prediction market. It's something else. So there's no kind of game. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
So I don't think they match in somehow. If you want
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So play in the lending market and go to the compound. If you want to predict some events and you want to win some money, go to the Everipedia. Yeah.
Yeah. Like one's, I think they're really cool, Compound and Maker. And you're right, they're definitely different things. It's just how do you want to be active in this space? And that's up to the user.
Yeah, I got another question concerning the the infrastructure that you have. So do you use some kind of a decentralized database like IPFS to store the information?
Yeah, we actually have all our articles of IPFS. If you go to the bottom of any Everipedia page, you can find the IPFS hash.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. So
we're one of the biggest.
So you just maintain the pinned the pinned hashes that from Everipedia.
Yeah, basically.
Got it. Yeah, cool.
So, David, I've got a question. I saw your photo with Jan Letterman from EOS, and so on for your friends. What's going on with EOS? Do you have any insights about EOS right now? Any news about EOS you may tell to our viewers due to your participation in our live air? Of course, we are live air, and please be correct if you may, of course.
Yeah, what's going on with EOS? I think we're trying to make EOS has been around for a few years. It has a lot of advantages, but also has a lot of things it has to deal with as well. I think there's Block One actually just released kind of like a roadmap that I have to look into, and it goes into their future plans. But EOS is definitely taking the step in the right direction. You saw Brendan Bloomer tweet the other day, EOS could be the best with its high transaction throughput, could be the best chain to use to have DeFi applications on. And you actually have a plan to actually, with EOS's computational output, that you can actually mine BTC via EOS. So there's a lot of cool stuff happening with EOS, especially where Everipedia is on it. You see a lot of renowned interest in EOS coming back, especially with the renowned interest in coming back. You're seeing problems with Ethereum and their transaction fees. I saw one day it was $20 to send, to have a trade on Uniswap. That's ridiculous. I think it's a long, people forget to think about that it's a long game, and you have to have foresight to see a few years ahead. It's not always what can I get right now? And it's about building those sustainable products that not only attract users but to keep them around. So I think if EOS just keeps trucking along, focus on what users want. It seems with the different EOS.io chains like Wax, people are really interested in NFTs.
I would actually defend Ethereum here.
Oh,
hi.
We got children.
I would say that the reason why they have such high transaction fees is because a lot of people are using the Ethereum network, which is a good thing. It's kind of like
So I wanted just to make it a comparison for every person that tries to compare the two from EOS to Ethereum. So once you live in the suburbs, it's very cheap. So not many people live in there, and the cost of living is really low. But once you go to the urban environment, there are a lot of people there living in the big buildings. They spend a lot of money on infrastructure. It's very expensive to live in the city. But why would anyone live in the city when they have suburbs? Because there are reasons. You can earn money there more than in the suburbs. That's the reason. And it's not really comparison between the two in terms of the cost. You need to compare the two in terms of utility that one blockchain creates with another. So once you build a city, you need to make sure it's cheap, but it's a very complicated task to make a city be kind of expensive. Not expensive as the suburbs.
Yeah, we're still building our city over here on our EOS island, and I think a big part of that will be connecting with other blockchains as well, and interoperability. That can definitely help the growth of our city.
Well, gentlemen, we have been broadcasting 45 minutes. We have almost come to the end. And the final question, that's done in history. David, when did you first know about any crypto phenomena, whatever it was, Bitcoin or
I
what? How it was?
I actually first heard of Bitcoin in 2010 when WikiLeaks
2010. Oh,
when WikiLeaks said they were accepting donations in Bitcoin instead of PayPal. And I remember I was like 15 or 16. And I'm like, what's this Bitcoin stuff? And I couldn't understand it for the life of me. I actually have this memory. I was like working a job at a country club and I saved all this money. I was like, should I buy Bitcoin or should I buy silver? And I bought silver because I could understand it. And well, you can say, what can you do? And then I kind of forgot about it. And then when I was in college in 2013, 2014, there was that, bull run to 1,000. So you would hear about it again. But I tried to understand Bitcoin and I couldn't I couldn't like understand it. And then it went back down. I forgot about it. And then, after I joined Everipedia in 2016 and 2017, you heard rumblings about, crypto, Ethereum and Bitcoin and all these ICOs and whatnot. And then I was actually we were actually looking into the field and eventually participating in the field. And then I kind of just got like my crypto education. So I first heard about it in 2010, but didn't become active into it until I got pulled along into it in 2017. And I've been active in it ever since. It's basically consumed my life for the past 3 years.
Well, how do you see the future of Everipedia?
The future, I see us having wider consumer adoption, as, these technologies improve and become more consumer friendly. I think people will just become attracted to contributing to Everipedia and attracted to, its value proposition of being uncensorable and transparent. And they'll be, pulled to, easy to use prediction markets and the fact that, I think the key part about Everipedia, it's a grassroots community. And as long as we keep, attracting users with our community, it's kind of like a positive, feedback loop. And so, I think, with Everipedia, one thing we're really, with our community, we're really like pushing, and also with the future of Everipedia is like, we want to like keep pushing into DeFi. We're really leading DeFi on EOS with our prediction market. We want to expand that to include a whole host of DeFi primitives. So in the future, we want to have our own, synthetic assets. We want to have lending and borrowing. We want to, have leverage prediction markets. There's so many different cool things that we can do with the IQ token. And, we want to be, one of the top leaders in the space, both, with, product, with an easy to use product and, something that, actually attracts users.
Well, and by the way, about predictions, how do you predict the future of the DeFi segment of crypto industry and the nearest, let's say, couple of the years? Do you see any hype trends or?
Yeah, there's like every time I was actually playing with a few different, DeFi protocols this week, and it kind of just blew my mind. It kind of opened my mind to the potential that these things have. Now I see DeFi being like three different. There's permissionless banking with Compound and Aave. You have permissionless bootstrap liquidity, with Uniswap, and then you also have permissionless derivatives and permissionless synthetic assets with synthetics and Yearn. And I think these things are going to keep growing, and you're going to kind of have this battle between your grassroots community led protocols like Yearn, and then you're going to have or Aave, and then you're going to have the VC traditional backed protocols like Compound and Meta and Emcee. And so you're going to kind of see like a battle between them in the future and see who's going to win out. And it's going to there's going to be its ups and downs. And right now we're definitely we're on an up, especially with Bitcoin going through 10,500 yesterday. But I see these things just growing just by orders of magnitude. I'm just waiting till DeFi token gets into the top 10. I bet you that will be probably by the end of the year. Who knows whether it's gonna be Compound or synthetics, but there's just so much potential in this space. Like the DeFi token isn't even. I don't think there's one in the top 25 yet. So we're just at the beginning of this. So I would say strap in and get ready for a wild ride.
Yeah, so you're super passionate about what you do. And as an economist, I would like to ask you, what do you think about the modern banking and fiat system, especially about, let's say, in the world, not concerning with U.S. fiat system, all the fiat systems are the same. Let's say the same. What do you think about fiat money system and banking system? Well, modern world we live in.
Just as in like the 1500s, 1600s, you had religion and the state tied in together. Today, you have the monetary system and the state tied in together. And I think what blockchain does is it decouples that. Now, I think, as stablecoin, I think stablecoins have one of the biggest potentials in blockchain because it gives people an option to opt out of their fiat for a stable currency that they can rely on. I want to give a shout out. You have Tether, you have DAI, but I want to give a shout out to my co-founder Sam Casby. He's creating his own algorithmic stablecoin called Frax, which is actually going to be a bridge that's going to start off fully collateralized by Tether and DAI, and then through kind of like a system eventually become algorithmic. And I highly recommend, and anybody watching this, to check out frax.finance and join the Telegram. But I see stablecoins being a huge part of kind of this decoupling from fiat currency. I think fiat currency, I don't know if I saw an article in Bloomberg today where they're questioning the reserve status of the U.S. dollar. That is huge. Like that is where where like a lot of the U.S. power comes from, is the fact that it's used in all these global international settlements. And if the U.S. loses that, then I can't imagine like where the U.S. is going to be. I can't imagine where fiat is going to be. So I definitely see a future where maybe we see a basket of currencies that become the new international reserve standard. Maybe we see like a completely different algorithmic stablecoin that becomes the international reserve standard for large transactions. And there's kind of like kind of branch daughter stablecoins that are for specific geographic regions based on the economics at the time. But I think the fiat days are numbered. I just don't know how long. I don't know if it's like going to last for another like few years or if it's going to last for another 20 years. You can't predict that. But if you're in the space, you clearly see where it's going.
Well, Leo, do you have any additional questions to David in the end? Or if you don't,
I think we discussed most of the topics. So liquidity is very important. User adoption comes with a good interface and a good customer journey. I think overall the prediction market's a big thing. It's still that somebody has to solve a lot of these issues with the complexity of the idea itself, and the easiness that these markets and the potential that these markets actually can introduce to the crowd. So I think that's it's a very, very big step. Whenever we have the inter-blockchain connections like Cosmos and so on, a lot of blockchain projects and dApps will have a lot of liquidity kind of sucked in through the interconnected blockchains. So I think it's just a matter of kind of maybe years. We'll see this when every dApp out there will post it on a decentralized database, and we'll have the ability to in a permissionless way interact with different blockchains, and every user would get sucked in, and will get with the ease of a click of a button, will get access to every dApp out there on every blockchain. I think it's just inevitable.
I see a few, there's only like several thousand tokens that are live now. I see a future where there's millions of tokens. I'm like, and we're just at the beginning of all this.
Yeah, gentlemen, sounds optimistic. I love it. And now this is time for a call to action. So please, David, make all your any claims, any announcements, any call to actions. You have up to 1 minute for the final speech. David Liebowitz, the Vice President.
If you want to connect with Everipedia, join our Telegram group at Everipedia. Follow us on Twitter at Everipedia. Follow us on Instagram, Everipedia, on Facebook, Everipedia Official. Like us on Facebook, Everipedia. If you want to connect with Predict, join the Predict Telegram at Predict. We also have a Twitter for Predict at Predict. If you want to connect with me, you can follow me on Twitter at DaveSaidThat_. Follow me on Instagram and follow my travels around the United States at DaveDoingThings_. And stop. Feel free to tweet at me, send me a message, say hi. If you're interested in joining, I'm down to help you. If you have any questions about editing, I can connect you with our community managers. If you have any questions about anything, just hit me up.
Well, thank you very much, David, for joining us today, for being on the DeFi Talk show. David Liebowitz, the Vice President of Business Development at Everipedia. And thanks for that, Morozovsky from UniDAO, our constant expert, for your confidence, for your optimism, for your knowledge. Please, attendees and viewers, like, subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, VK, and so as not to miss our future broadcast, and follow the announcement of our Telegram channel, Money of the Future, or Telegram chat, Money of the Futures. And stay tuned for next episodes of the DeFi Talks. See ya. Please do
nice to meet you, David. Bye.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Do not unconnect. Do not.
Wait, thank you for your.
Stay, please.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. I really appreciate. I especially I want tough questions because that's what people